Alright everybody, it's Eccentric Mo again, and I wanted to make a video about coming out as trans at a job. So, as I have probably previously mentioned in some video somewhere, one of my jobs is I work at a park district um, in their visual arts and theater department, and I paint the sets for community theater. So, I thought I'd have to quit this job just on the premise alone that I work with kids, and parents can be some crazy, crazy people. And I was thinking that even though my boss loves me, and I love her, she's an amazing person to work with, her boss likes me at least. She knows I work really hard, but her boss's boss is very detached from what actually goes on. Probably doesn't realize exactly how hard I work for them. And, after a while, they just get so detached when you're like, boss's 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 boss. Like, do they probably, they know it exists, but that's about it. So, anyway, I'm sitting here thinking they probably think it's bad for business. And, in Illinois, as of like May of last year, it's, transgender people are protected by the Anti Discrimination Act. But, you think if they really want to fire me, they'll make up some other reason to. Eh. So I was kind of going into this whole thing thinking I'm going to try to come out at this job and see if I can keep it. But I was expecting and just kind of mentally preparing myself to let the job go just in case. So I told my boss, hey, there's something I really need to talk to you about, and it might affect my job here. So whenever you get a chance, give me a call. So we finally get to talking, and she was very supportive. Um, she's also had conversations with her son about how he doesn't really feel like a guy. So she may have been, prepped a little bit for this kind of conversation. That being said, she's also just a very caring, empathetic person. So I really didn't think she was going to be a problem at all. And she was kind of like, you know what, I really don't see a problem here, and I'll meet with my boss next week and we'll see what she says. So she has a meeting with her boss, and her boss says she doesn't have a problem with it either. So the week after that, we plan a meeting with the two of them and their boss, and then of course to go over any paperwork or just talk about any problematic areas. And I thought the boss's boss didn't like me, but he was actually very respectful and considerate, and he said he had never come across this before in all the years he'd been doing this type of work, and so he was just kind of playing it by ear, which I can appreciate, man, because he was actually really respectful. Uh, so yeah, the main thing was kind of like, okay, if parents are really being confrontational, is this something you want me to handle? Should I, escalate it to my boss or that sort of thing? And I also like what bathrooms I should use because there's no gender neutral bathrooms at all in the building. So we kind of picked one that is a little less used in the area it's in. It's kind of further away from the areas I usually work in, so people who use it probably wouldn't really know who I was before anyway. So it was a good meeting, and yeah, so I got to keep that job. So that was really exciting. Um, so we did the paperwork, and the boss said she told the other staff members, and a show was coming up. And so then I got to see the other staff members. They probably had only known for a week or something, maybe even less. Some of them was even less. Uh, and some of them pulled me aside and said things when they had a minute if they caught me alone. Some of them would say, like, oh, like I have a gay relative, so it's really cool with me. Which, of course, doesn't even compare to the whole trans thing. I mean, yeah, you still have to come out and stuff, but it's a lot less taboo. I'm not belittling being gay at all. I've been through that too, but it's just different. So, like, having a gay cousin or something, it's like, yeah, it's not the same, but thanks for your support. You get what people are saying. It doesn't bug them, and, you know, they're there for you. And people would say things like, hey, if you ever want to talk, I'm open, but I was like, whatever, I'm happy. And they were like, yeah, you look happy. And then one of my staff members actually was like, a week after our boss told me what was going on, I met with my brother and my dad, and my brother told us that he's trans and he wants to transition to female. I was like, holy crap. Think of the timing. A week before you find out one of your coworkers trans, and then your brother comes out as trans. Craziness. Um, hmm. So honestly, I kind of appreciated the staff saying something, even if it's maybe not the best things to say. I mean, really, most heteronormative people are probably not going to know the right things to say in this sort of situation. So when they say things, it probably comes off as really arrogant or whatever. But just the fact that people would step aside and even just like go out of their way just to give me an extra hug and say like, hey, you look happy, or I would appreciate that more than just the staff members who would like not say anything about it, and I'd wonder like, are they like really weirded out by this, or do I make them uncomfortable now, or are they just trying to wrap their head around it, or maybe they didn't even know. I don't know, but it's just even if they don't say the right things when they're trying to express the fact that they're cool with it, I appreciate that they would say something that meant overall they were cool with it. Uh, so okay, moving on from there, there was a little bit of awkwardness because, well, my boss told all the staff. There was no big announcement to parents or the kids that I work with. That being said, I'm usually just like painting in a corner off to the side, so I used to be a lot more involved in like the rehearsals and the classes and everything, but I got away from that because I wanted to do my own freelance art. So honestly, there are some kids who knew me, from years ago when I was still doing all of that, and then there's newer kids who really probably don't even remember who I am or pay attention or know I exist, even though I paint the whole frickin' set. So there's this weird, like, some of the cast knows who I was before, some of them really don't. And for the ones who didn't, they knew me as male, and for the ones who did, they knew me as female, turning into a male. And it was just a little awkward. So I was kind of glad not to really talk with any parents at all, because I'm like, I don't want to deal with that.